Hello, friends. I'm Commander Atul Kumar Rohatgi speaking to you on behalf of ISHRAE Institute of Excellence. I'm going to continue with IIE Delhi HVAC talks, and in that series, today I'm going to talk about why is water cooled condenser more efficient as compared to an air cooled condenser. This is the topic of our discussion. On one hand, we can see an air cooled condenser which has been kept on a rooftop. It's a very simple device which has been kept. It just needs an open space and it's required to be connected with the compressor and the other parts of the air conditioning system. On the other hand, right hand side, we can see the chiller plant, the condenser and evaporator, which has been kept on a single chassis, and along with the cooling tower which is required when we have a water cooled condenser. The cooling tower is required to be kept on rooftop, whereas the condenser is normally in this case kept in the machinery compartment along with the compressor and evaporator. Let's continue with this discussion, and first of all, we will talk about chiller efficiency. Chiller efficiency in an air cooled condenser and in a system where water cooled condenser is being used. The condensing temperature in an air cooled condenser is typically about 11 degrees centigrade above the ambient dry bulb temperature. Please note, I am talking about ambient dry bulb temperature, which is pretty high. In case if we talk about Delhi, then the ambient dry bulb temperature for design is at 44 degrees centigrade. On the other hand, when we have water cooled condenser, the condensing temperature is about 5 degrees centigrade above the ambient wet bulb temperature. Now, there is a difference. On the left hand side, in air cooled condenser, I talked about dry bulb temperature of ambient air. On the right hand side, I talked about wet bulb temperature of air. The design wet bulb temperature of air in Delhi will be around at 27 degrees centigrade. The condensing temperature will in that case be around 32 to 33 degrees centigrade, whereas when we have an air cooled condenser, the condensing temperature will be almost 55 degrees centigrade. And this I'm talking just with respect to the design wet bulb temperature. In summer condition, when the dry bulb temperature is of the order of 44 degrees centigrade, wet bulb temperature at that particular condition will be much lower, will be around 22 or 23 degrees centigrade in Delhi. So the condensing temperature will be much lower. And we can see that there is a clear 20 degrees centigrade or more difference in the condensing temperature. And we know that a chiller is more efficient when the condensing temperature is less, and it becomes less efficient when the condensing temperature goes up. And therefore, the chiller, while working with the water cooled condenser, is much more efficient. Let's now talk about the advantages of these two kinds of condensers because of the properties of water and air. I've listed the properties of air and water in two different columns. And the first property that is interesting for us is the specific heat of air. The specific heat of air is 1.006 kilojoule per kg per degree centigrade, whereas the specific heat of water is 4.186 kilojoule per kg per degree centigrade. So we can see that water is almost about 4.2 times higher in specific heat as compared to air. And that means that 1 kg of water can remove 4.2 times more heat as compared to 1 kg of air. The other property that I would like to talk about is specific density or gravity of air and water. The specific density of air is 1.2 kilograms per meter cube approximately, whereas that of water is 1000 kilogram per meter cube. And so, if we consider volume wise, because we have to handle volume, 1 meter cube of water can remove almost about 4,000 times as much heat as can be removed by 1 meter cube of air. Now, there is a massive amount of difference. The amount of the size of fan that will be needed for moving that much of air will be much larger, and the power consumption that will be needed for moving air will be much more as compared to the power consumption that will be required to move water. Now let's talk about certain differences in installation and maintenance requirements also. We talked about advantages of water cooled condenser, water cooled chiller uh, as compared to air cooled chiller, but there are certain difficulties also. And let's talk about them in installation and maintenance requirements. If we recall the first picture that we had, air cooled chiller is a very simple system. All that is needed is just fans. Condenser is required to be installed in an open space, and all that you need is just fans. Whereas in a water cooled chiller, we need, along with a condenser cooling system, which will have cooling tower, which will have pumps, which will have piping, which will have the required walls, strainers, etc. And so, therefore, to purchase all these equipments and to install them, the cost of installation of a water cooled chiller is much higher as compared to the cost of installation of a air cooled chiller. Now let's talk about the maintenance. Whereas in air cooled chiller, all that we need to maintain is the fan and the motor. The rest is very simple. Condensation does not take place on that. All that you need is to blow it regularly with the help of LP air, that is low pressure air. On the other hand, when we have water cooled chiller and the condenser cooling system along with that, that will have a cooling tower, a lot of mud gets accumulated, the dust in air that gets accumulated in the form of mud, and that is required to be removed at regular interval. There is biological growth that takes place, which is required to be cleaned at regular interval. Then, in addition, we also have to be careful about the salt level in water, because once the salt level goes up, the water can become very corrosive and it can harm the system. And to ensure that the salt level remains in control, we have to do regular blowdowns. In addition, frequent descaling may also be needed, because of the salt content, scaling can take place in the condenser pipes. So frequent descaling would also mean that reduction in the life of the condenser. Water-cooled condenser arrangement needs regular maintenance activity. Due to these reasons, this becomes cost-effective only above 100 to 150 TR chilling capacity. At lower chilling capacity, below 150 or 100 TR, normally in most places, the water-cooled condenser or water-cooled systems, they are not cost-effective as compared to air-cooled systems. We also have to consider that water is required as a consumable. There can be many places where water is not available, or where water could be very costly. We also will have to think about disposal of blow down water, which is high in salt content. So where do we dispose it? So with this, we will end the discussion on the two different kinds of condensers: air cooled condenser and water cooled condenser. You were watching this Amam, this video is being posted on behalf of ISHRAE Institute of Excellence. Thanks a lot for watching. Our contact numbers have been given below. We conduct a number of classes for professionals as well as for new engineers, fresh engineers who are desiring to enter the HVAC industry. So if you want to upskill yourself, if you want to become ready for the HVAC world, you want to join the HVAC world, you should come to us to take the training, join us. Our contact numbers have been given below. And we are present on YouTube, through which you are watching us. We are present on LinkedIn, we are present on Facebook, and we have a website whose addresses have been given you. Thank you very much.